So it's all about the decision-making process. The lessons are laid out here in what we call a skills diagram or a skills matrix. Control lessons are in red. That's the basic control functions of the car, making the car do what you want it to do. The road skills, that's your basic techniques for junctions, roundabouts, traffic lights. And then your traffic skills, it's doing all of those when there's people around you, decision making if you like. You can choose the path that you take through the course, which lessons to do in which order. These are skill levels, if you like, so when you're on skill level number 1, moving off and stopping, so if you've not done that before, you need to start there. Steering and gears are at level 2. Level 3, we start getting coordination, that's being able to do all of those things all at the same time. We'll spend quite a bit of time on those, and the reason being is they're the skills that you use to do everything else. And if some of those are weak, then things don't work the way they should. You find that you talk to learner drivers sometimes, they'll tell you they don't like junctions. Well, it's not junctions they don't like, it's stopping and starting, because they haven't got full control of the car. So we want to try and develop, we might spend a bit longer here, and that might occasionally feel a little boring, but we're going to nail those skills down. And then what you'll find is that everything else just becomes dead easy. If we don't fix that, then you get situations like people feel they can't drive or they're scared of it, and they end up either giving up or they switch to an automatic, which limits your choices. And these are all the feel. You learn these by feel. I can't teach you that because you don't learn feel by being taught it. You learn it by experiencing it. So we're going to try and find a way that works for you, so we can develop absolute and utter control of the car. So you know you can make it do whatever you want, whenever you want. With that, of course, comes confidence too. So you'll choose your path through. At any given level, when we get to level 4 here, or even level 3, I'll be saying, so what's next? So at the end of each session, we'll have a provisional plan in our mind. We'll set the first one before we leave today. But we'll have an idea about what we might do for the next lesson. Once we've finished the lesson, you'll do a reflection. How did it work? What was good? What was bad? And then think, well, okay, logically, it seems sensible to do this next. So you can choose your path through there. You might also decide that now when it comes to the next lesson, change your mind because you're tired or whatever. So you're going to choose the path. You don't have to do a lot of homework or anything, but it's just, we'll show you how the book works. So you can make notes, or you can just have it as a mental reflector, or you record it and do whatever you want really. So you'll choose your path through there. So we'll decide, obviously you've not done it before, so the first lesson is probably going to be lesson number 1, moving off and stopping. Then how will you prepare for the lesson? Well, you can watch the DVD, you can watch it on YouTube, you can Google driving and see whatever comes up there, you can watch other people drive, you can just reflect on the experience you've had so far. It's up to you really. So you can watch the DVD, do the workbook. Now in here, oops, you get past that bit, there's a lot of lesson notes, which is all to do, how if I got to the right page now, wouldn't it? With what it is we're going to do on that lesson. So watch the DVD, read the notes, or not, it's up to you. You can elect them to do the quiz at the end, which can check your knowledge. The answers are in the back of the book. And there's also an idea here on some of the things that we might do, things you could study. These are some exercises. In an ideal world, we'd want you to say, well, I want to do that, and that. And think about the route. Where can I do that? Well, you've got a reasonable knowledge of the area because you lived here a while. So you might have an idea that, well, if we're doing that, maybe, if we're doing basic junctions, Chesterfield's ideal, isn't it? So if I'm moving off and stopping, I'm having to think about it now, what sort of area do you think you need? Or would you rather have?
Moving off and stopping.
On our first lesson?
Quite road.
Okay. There aren't too many where you are. There's lots of traffic in there because it's full of leather driver cars all the time. Sometimes you might say, well, I don't know. Have you got somewhere in mind, Rob? I have routes for all sorts of things, but it's nice if I can get you involved in that.
More on like Darren.
It is. Well, I've got a place that I use that's a little bit further out toward Whitley Bridge, and it's a massive, long, straight road. Not much traffic on it. So it's an ideal place to start. So I've always got ideas. For steering, I tend to use the car park here at Covent. And obviously I'll be driving us in between them because you haven't got the experience to come across these things. For gears, well, it's probably sensible because of the location I found with a long straight road to do the moving off and the gears maybe all in one go. So just basically moving off and stuff because we've got a long straight, we can get all the way up and all the way down the gearbox. So, but again, we'll play that by ear. So there's a lot of ideas about what we might do. So that's these things that you might do here. What tasks are we going to do? What type of location might we need? So it's what do you want to achieve from the lesson? Sometimes it's, well, I just want to feel better about it. I want to feel more confident. I want to learn something new here. So it's an idea, just if you like, you're keeping a diary of the whole thing. So what do I want to do? How will I prepare? What do I want to get out of it? What sort of tasks might we do to do that? What sort of route? When we finish the lesson, we would mark the targets, which I'll show you in a second. And then you do a reflective log. What did you like? What did you not like? Did anything surprise you, either in a good way or in a bad way? And at the bottom here, it's to help you sort of have an idea about where you're at. So if you look, assessing your progress on a score of 1 to 10, where 1 is you're disappointed with the progress you make, 10 is it's brilliant, so you put a score in there. And then did the lesson go as you expected it to do? 1 for absolutely not, 10 for absolutely. So they're just little snapshots. And when we're marking things, we always have to bear in mind that we're marking it for the level we're at now. So for example, you're moving off and stopping isn't going to be as good at the end of that first lesson as it is when you're doing your test. So we're always kind of gauging it from where we are. That will then lead us to say, well, what's next? What do you reckon? And then that becomes your provisional plan for this time. Load of space for notes, to either make notes after the lesson or make notes to ask me questions before this lesson. And we like questions. Questions are great. So that's loads of reflective logs for all of our lessons as we go through. Does that all make sense? You seem happy with that?
Yeah.
Some people like writing notes, some people don't. There's our targets for getting off and running. So you'll see they all say, I feel confident in my ability. So these are your targets, not mine. So you decide if we've met the target or not. If I think you're ticking something off that's done and dusted, and I don't think you should, we'll have a chat. And we don't have to have all of those ticked to move on to the next one. But we will come back and revisit them later on. So we've got an idea about what you're able to do. And then at the bottom, test requirements. That'll show you how you're going to be assessed. Now you can look at it, it'll tell you the page. So here's 169. And then 169, that's what you need to be able to do on your test. So you can get a clear idea about how they're going to assess you. So does that make sense? Or? So that at each time we're showing you this is what's required. This is the marking boxes on the test form. I'll show you from the start. It'll probably be helpful. That's the marking form they're going to use. So during each lesson, we're showing you which of those boxes relates to what we're doing. Does that make, I didn't explain that very well. So it gives you an idea about where we're at. Now when you've ticked, there's a few ways you can do this. Some people scribble them out like they're a bingo card. Some people like to put a tick in. Some people like to put a slash in when they've covered it and a cross when they've mastered it. It's up to you. Entirely up to you. But then we have, of course, our master progress chart. That's everything we have to do. So if you say to me, am I ready for my test? You tell me.
Well, that's ticked.
Yeah, then you're good to go. So if you tick target number 1 on lesson 1, tick that box there. And I've got a copy of that in the bag of mine. So at the end of the lesson, we'll just compare notes and say, okay, there we go. And it can be a motivator as well, because you can see that you're actually making progress. But these are your targets. So again, coordination, control skills, road skills, traffic skills, all the lessons go through. Then in a section of your driving test. And then answers to the quiz at the back, and your appointment card. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
It'll make more sense as we're doing it.
Where's that for you? The last one first. Is it like parking and stuff?
Yes, well the manoeuvres are, actually if you pop the front bit, that might help you a bit better. Your manoeuvres are...
I'm scared of parking and I don't know how to do it.
Yet.
How to judge the cars, I don't know.
Well that's...
Scary.
Do you know what, it's... People worry about manoeuvres And you've probably heard other people say, oh, I hate doing that, I couldn't do it, it was this and that. You'll find people that'll drive miles rather than reverse parking to find a space that can... What tends to happen is when we're trying to remember how to do it, we're trying to remember the way our instructor told us to do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do anything. I'm going to help you find ways of doing it. And if you find the way to do it, it's fixed for life. And you only ever learn that lesson once. Where if I say to you, get it to this point, then do this, then this point, then do that, you've got to remember a huge set of instructions. You know, it's, if I said to you, just pick that pen up, whatever goes. Listen, no, I'm not going to try and trick you. Just go and pick the pen up. How did you learn to do that?
Well, I did it myself.
You did?
Yeah.
And have you ever forgotten how to do that?
No.
I'm not saying stuff, but it's common sense. So if you if you find out for yourself how to do parking, you'll never worry about it again. Lots of people like to go down the manoeuvre route first because they're the things they worry about. And it's your choice. When we get to here, we can go down that route. Not a problem at all. That's the route that your Claire did. And our clutch control got to a level that was incredible. You've also got references, you know, you've got all these resources here, but you've got older sisters that drive. You've got older sisters that know how this works. It's up to you whether you dip into that or not, of course. So you'll choose your own path, you'll choose how you're going to prepare for it. The most important thing, I think, is that we put some thought into what might happen next. Whether you've done any study with this or that isn't really the important bit. Do you feel comfortable with all that? Is there anything you want to ask me?
No, it seems straightforward, really.